Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to start to put together your promotional calendar. In fact, we're going to leverage the number one asset that you as an email marketer or a marketer has at your disposal, and that's your email list. So let's go ahead and dive in and talk about how to create the perfect marketing or promotional calendar for your company. Now, before we get started on breaking down the steps to creating a promotional calendar, I think it's important that we review and kind of clarify once and for all the role of the promotional calendar in any business. The role of the promotional calendar is to elicit action, right? Action. You want movement out of your subscribers. So you want to get your subscribers to do something, whether it's to make a purchase or raise their hand and express interest in something. Maybe they need to come into your physical location. Maybe they need to pick up the phone and set an appointment. Whatever it is to take your customer and move them from wherever the highest segment has stopped on the customer journey to the next necessary step to move them through the process. That's what we want to focus on. So think of email and your subscriber base like one of the popcorn machines, right? Popcorn machines that you'd see at a movie theater. You don't want the stuff that settles down at the bottom. You want the fresh stuff that's popping up and moving around. That's what we do by creating a marketing calendar. We're crafting our marketing calendar to talk to people and to speak to people about different but relevant things to get them to move through different phases. So let's take a few minutes to break down exactly how we do that. So I want to cover the two vital assets that anyone needs to create a winning marketing calendar for their business. And the first asset you need is your product and service catalog. So you'll see the form here. It is downloadable and in the assets section of this particular module. Now, most people skip this part. Whether you're bringing a new employee on, or whether you're starting with a new company, or whether you yourself are responsible for the email marketing efforts of your company, even if you're a founder, a C-level, or someone who's been with the company from the beginning, you're forgetting about products and services and promotions that you've run in the past successfully. And the goal of this sheet is to aggregate every asset you have to leverage on your marketing calendar. So before we talk about what we should send to whom and when, we have to say, what do we have to send, right? If you have one product or service, then your marketing calendar, while bland, is pretty easy to create, right? You have one thing. So it's really not email marketing that you need to work on. It's campaign creation. How many different ways can you sell that one thing? Or maybe it's product creation. And as we get to the second vital aspect or asset that you need to create your marketing calendar, you'll see how this asset actually informs your business on when it's time to go into product creation mode, when you need to launch additional assets, or when you need to leverage additional channels. But we'll get there. For now, let's focus on this and walk through how to fill this out for the products and services in your business. So, gathering promotional assets. We need to create a product or a promotional asset sheet for every product or service in your catalog. All right? It's fairly easy to fill out. First, we're going to start with the product or service. Self-explanatory. Don't get cute. What is it? This is an internal document, and it's only used for you when you're sitting down staring at a blank calendar, especially 12 months of blank calendar. So what is the product, right? What is its name? What is the price of the product or service? Now, this is important. If you have dedicated sales or if you have pricing guidelines that you have to stay within, you need to dictate those here. So the full price product or the full price of this product or service is this. The sales price is this. If there are any stipulations on how often or what season you can run, that should be denoted next to the sales price. So for us, we know that we have several products that we use as acquisition products. So we routinely run them at a large discount because our goal is to use those products to attract and to acquire new customers, right? So we would denote that full price and then the discount price next to it. Next, and this is so important, right? So important. Where does the buying transaction occur? Where does it happen? Is it online? Is it in person? Is it over the phone? Is it someplace else, right? If there's someplace else the buying transaction occurs, pencil that in and let me know so that I can add it to the sheet. But I'm pretty sure maybe a webinar, maybe a teleseminar or an online meeting could happen, or at an event, which would still be in person. But this is important, right? When you're thinking of your customer journey and you're thinking of that customer journey roadmap, what needs to happen? What needs to happen to take someone from aware to indoctrinated or engaged, to buying, to ascending to the next level? Maybe they become a multi-buyer. Well, if they need to print something out, put their pants on, get in their car and drive to your store, then that's what your email has to get them to do. And it's important to know that now, because as we're starting to put things together, we need to know calls to action. As we're starting to think past promotional calendar and into email copy, what does this copy need to do? What does it need to have them do? So obviously, if you have an online sale, it's a little bit easier. The other two may require a shift in positioning or a little bit more tweaking of the sales copy. Better to know that now. Next, have you sold it via email before? Right? Important, self-explanatory question. Have I ever sold this product that requires maybe an in-person buying transaction, or the buying occurs in person? Have I ever sold this via email? Yes or no? If yes, what were the results? Did it work? Did you sell it via email and it worked, or did you sell it via email and it absolutely bombed? Now, if it bombed, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't sell that product that happens to have potentially an in-person buying transaction via email. What it means is you shouldn't leverage the existing promotional copy. You shouldn't look at the campaign that was sent and say, well, let's just do this again. Because the realistic expectation would be you would get the exact same result or worse. So if the result was bad to start with, let's not do that again. So did it work the last time you sold it online? Now, just a little preview. If the answer was no, but you really want to do it, it's just a little extra work on your part. Why didn't it work? Right? Did the email go to the wrong segment of people? Did the email not get opened? Did the email not get clicked? Was it one step removed from that? Or do I feel like it went to the right segment of people? Do I feel like the headline and the subject line were right on and it got average or better than average opens, and the clicks were right on, average or better than average, but for whatever reason, what I was asking them to do was too much? So that may be a repurposing of every asset you had minus the call to action. We may need to say, they're not ready to get up, print this out, and drive to the store. They need to call us to book an appointment, right? The addition of some other checkpoint in that customer journey, it may be the easiest path to fixing a busted campaign or a busted promotion, but I kind of went off on a little bit of a tangent there. So back to filling out this sheet. When did you promote it last? This is so important, and as we get into campaign spacing, we'll talk a little bit about how often you can promote the same offer, the same product, the same way to the same people. Same. A lot of sames. But we'll really get into when it's okay to put these close to one another. But you need to know, yes, maybe it worked. Maybe it worked really, really well. Maybe it was one of the better promotions you've run this month or this year. Well, if we're talking this year, and this year happens to be January, it may not be appropriate to run that promotion again. So we need to know that. How many emails did you send? This is important for so many reasons. As you're projecting out what you think this would do, or if you're trying to say, I'm going to sell product A in this slot, I expect it to do this much. If you expect it to do more in 3 emails than it did in 5 emails last time, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And vice versa, right? You may be under projecting. So you need to know, what were the results and how many emails did I send to get those results? If I'm going to leverage this as a promotion I should send again to the list, what do I need to do? Right? What do I need to do to tweak here? Do I need to take the worst performing email out? And again, we'll get into a little bit of this, or we'll get into this in detail a little bit later in the training. Isn't currently available to promote, so this is important. There's all kinds of reasons that something that is successful and that has been sold to your list successfully is unavailable, right? It could be unavailable because it's seasonal, or it's a physical product and you're out of all the common sizes, or it's a live class that only starts 4 times a year, or it's a physical event that is either over or there's a limited number of seats and you're out of them, right? There are so many reasons that it may be unavailable to promote, so you don't want to promote something that did really well if you can't fulfill. So going back to what we were talking about, the benefits of email with the transactional and relational emails and what they can do outside of their core purpose. If you sell something that and drive up demand and desire for something and then can't fulfill, it has the opposite result, right? So it goes from being relational in a good way, right, to putting relational equity in the bank, to drawing relational equity from the bank, and really going backwards a little bit. And if it's not available, why? Right? You need to know why, because the expectation is if you were to fill out these sheets and hand them to a new employee, or if someone were to hand these to you, or if you were to fill these out on behalf of your client or walk through this process with your client, that you should be able to hand this to anyone. And if they knew this and understood a promotional calendar, they should be able to build a promotional calendar to meet your goals. So if they can't promote it right now, they need to know why and when they can promote it. So here's kind of something that you should do in between or after this video and before the next one. You should pause and fill out promotional asset sheet for your product line, right? Fill this out for your product line and see what you actually have to work with. Now, I'll tell you, the first time you do this, it requires a fair amount of research. It requires a fair amount of going back through whatever order process you have, whether it's your online shopping cart, whether it's going through maybe QuickBooks or your POS system and saying, what did I sell and when? Right? What did I sell and when? Am I missing anything? You would be surprised at how many times we've gone back through and found promotions and products that we completely forgot about that did very, very well and generated hundreds of thousands of dollars that we just forgot. That's why this form came to life, not only for internal companies to continually review their product catalog, but also when we launch a new company, acquire a new company, or bring a new partner in, that we can give this to them and have a duplicatable system, which now you have, for making sure that you never, ever forget about a product that is income producing or a service that's income producing. Okay, so that was long-winded, but that's just number 1 out of 2 things that you need. All right, so now that you know what you have to sell, it's time to figure out when you're going to sell it and who you're going to sell it to. In the next video, we're going to dive into the second asset that you need to build the perfect promotional calendar. So I'll see you in the next video.